Hi, everybody. My name is Julia,
I'm Sophia.
and today we're going to be talking about the SLA theory, acquisition and learning hypothesis. So we're going to start out by talking about Stephen Krashen, who is a theorist, and he created his 5 hypotheses of second language acquisition, where people were talking a lot about bilingual education. There was a lot of conversation and about how there was a lot of different nuances that would be important to implementing it. And there was a lot of controversial talk in California because people weren't sure if this would be statewide and who would teach it and how they would teach it. And no one was sure if it would really work for everyone. So this was a big topic. And so Stephen Krashen was a researcher, and he got his PhD in linguistics at UCLA, and he was a professor of education at the University of Southern California. And he did a lot of work with emphasizing the importance of these firsthand learning experiences, which helped him study vocabulary, grammar, and correcting errors as a result of language acquisition.
So basically, this slide is going to be the most important for the concept of language acquisition versus language learning. So basically, Krashen was saying that there's a difference between acquiring a language and learning a second language. So basically, the 2 parts of this, the first part, acquisition, he's saying that acquisition is a natural process and it's used in conversation or in some sort of use with native speakers of the language, and that the main idea is communication and a comprehensible input. And what he means by comprehensible input is something that's important to understand or know. And then versus learning, which is a formal process. So this is used in the classroom. And the main point of this is to have accurate language when you're learning it formally. So what he's saying, the important distinction between the 2 parts of this hypothesis is that learning can't be relayed into language acquisition. So learning language doesn't have the natural conversation that you would if you were acquiring a language, like language acquisition. Basically, he's saying that these are 2 separate systems and they are not the same. They should be contrasted with each other. So this is a quote that we found, and basically it's just reiterating that acquisition is unconscious and like learning a language is conscious. So some critiques of the theory, people are saying that there's not enough evidence to support the difference between acquisition and language learning. People are saying that it's too similar. And then another thing is that acquisition could be better understood when described as a process enriched by a learned system. So it's also talking about how they're more intertwined than what Krashen was saying in his hypothesis. And the last critique is that it's difficult to determine which system is being used. So if someone's exchanging a language with each other, it's hard to infer whether it is language acquisition or language learning, implying that they're more similar than what the hypothesis is stating. So for our demonstration for the acquisition element of learning a second language, I would say to Julia, how do you get to school in the morning?
And I would say that I took a car and I was driving down the road, and I took a left on Lloyd's Hill and a right on Western Ave. And then I turned at the first stoplight into Westfield State University.
And this would be done with me, for example, as a native speaker of the language. And then for learning, let's say I was a teacher and we were emphasizing grammar, and I was asking Julia how do I get to the bathroom?
And I would say, ¿Puedo ir al baño? So we had a comprehension question, and we were asking if anyone has connections with this theory to any personal experiences of learning another language in a classroom, whether it was in your own classroom or when you were like a pre-teacher in a classroom, and how do you think this would impact your acquisition of learning? And the feedback question that we had was this demonstration helpful or clear to understand? Were there anything that was unclear, anything like that? And if there were any unclear questions or definitions or anything, we do have a video with our handout, and our handout has a couple questions that you can answer on it to better your understanding and put yourself in the shoes of like a teacher that's understanding how to demonstrate this theory. And these are our sources that we used and our photos from the slideshow.
And that's it.
And that's it. Thank you so much.